heard that much about it.
I'm an adaptable guy. Maybe it's based on where all I've lived. I don't find a stop sign particularly challenging, and I found it easier to cruise through Uptown personally. But I went out there and you know, I had actually 2 shakes from ground floor and just kind of watched people, and we did have issues. And there were some lights that probably should not have been removed. But the issues we had were primarily people not even acknowledging the stop signs and just running right through them.
Are we talking about UNLC? I mean, it seems like, I think it seems like to me the operations with UNLC.
I don't know. Let's work through one topic at a time.
It's complicated.
But well, with the stop signs thing, everyone who does that work is in our chain of command.
Okay.
Meaning, we can go knock on their office, call the city manager and say, hey, citizens aren't thrilled with how this worked out, we weren't happy with it, however you want to say it, but it's all in our chain of command. There's no need to go to the media about that stuff. The only thing when you go to the media that happens as a consequence is you look incompetent, because it looks like you can't manage people in your own shop. It's extremely disrespectful to them. So here are these career employees reading about themselves in the news like they're pieces of crap who didn't do their jobs right. You know what I mean? It just creates this dissent, and then you know all the lawsuits that we're embroiled in. There is no better way to get yourself into a personnel-oriented lawsuit than to publicly talk about your employee's performance, especially in like a newspaper or media. So there were multiple issues that I had with that, but did that make me not respect the mayor or anything like that? No. We called, and I'll never say like anything that we talk about in a call, but I called and just expressed my thoughts on that, and it was fine. We ended it. The issue with that sort of media participation is that over the subsequent months, we stopped dealing with things as a council and just started calling you. And you know I don't like that. Right. I don't like dealing with city issues by calling you. That's not doing our job. That's something different. That's media stunts or trying to get some...
You told me this has gone on for a while. This just didn't happen.
4 months, 5 months? Yeah. Oh, and it's been
Really?
things, but if you're gonna ask me like what's like the rift between this unstoppable force we used to have, what's the agenda, what's the policy?
Right.
I was slightest clue.
So you don't know?
No. I mean, I have speculative ideas, but I'm not gonna gossip monger on live TV, but let me say this.
All right.
I had received as you might imagine, calls from numerous journalists while some of the drama stuff was going on. And I'm sure, just like you, they're frustrated that I'm not getting into this sort of thing. I'm just not. But I said, if you really want to do something that I would find interesting to read, is why don't you explore the cause of it? What's the disagreement? What's the direction that we think is off that we're arguing over?
Right.
I don't think that's it.
You don't?
I don't. No.
What's the big issue?
That's what I want to read. That's what I want to know. I want someone to investigate and do the story so I can read and see.
But you and UNLC had a really big difference on racial. You don't?
No, not really big. The only thing you've read from me is in the Enterprise, and that's kind of, some secondhand stuff there without me casting any, saying anything one way or another. What they quoted me as saying that said Vice Mayor Rawls said, in my own words, is how I feel, but it was never like a blow-up thing. I mean, by no stretch of the imagination is...
I sense, and I don't want to speak for LC, but I sense that's what kind of blew him up.
No.
You don't think so?
No. No. Not even close, no.
I mean, when he's talking to us, he says, that he has these feelings about Rashawn.
I don't want to go too out of order because I'd like to do the issues, then the candidates, and I know probably a lot of people want to talk about him. But the thing with that guy is, a lot of people don't want to say it out loud, and I've got no personal deal with him. He and I share a lot of relationships, which probably surprises people, but they're people I care about a lot who care about him, and I don't want them thinking I'm going to beat this guy up. It's not a personal thing with him, and I know no one wants to say it out loud. This guy is not ready for this job, and that is a Rayshawn. That is a feature.
How about LC?
The people supporting Rayshawn know he's not ready for this job, and that's why they want him.
You think LC's ready for this job?
Yeah, I do. The person I worked with for that first year was unstoppable. I swear to God, I'd have voted for him for president. I would have run his campaign. I'd have been in his administration, no questions asked.
All right, but he's kind of like, he's just Georgia. You three?
He's chosen an unfortunate path that ultimately the city's gonna have to pay for, but nothing's destroyed. We're all here, we're all living, we're all breathing.
Okay.
While we have breath, we can make choices and do something.
But it's hard for you, isn't it?
Not really, man, because I constantly have to examine why am I here.
Okay.
Is it to win stupid, back and forth fights? Is it to get into petty stuff? Is it for prestige? Or is it to advance this community?
Right.
And so as long as we are advancing this community, I don't really care.
Okay.
If you're wondering if there are going to be trust issues and things like that, obviously yes, that's going to be true.
Right.
But can we continue to work for the citizens? Absolutely. And some of the issues we're going to talk about tonight are things we can solve. And I had a hour-long, well, about a 30-minute long conversation with an elder in my church this morning about this, about some concerns that she's seeing. And she sees it, I think, the way that I do, which is there's nothing impeding us from doing these things. Nothing. There's no reason we can't get together and say, you know what, so-and-so or so-and-so, do you need an ordinance, do you need a policy, do you need money, do you need vehicles, or do you just need us to say it's okay? What do you need from the city council? We're not doing any of that.
My tough question. He's pretty much said, LC said, you're racist.
I'm not getting into that stuff.
Right.
I know you want to.
Well, I just think to do my job, I have to ask.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
what he said true or false?
How about this? Did I ever engage in this sort of behavior when like Chad Martin was doing it?
You said you didn't like it.
I never even acknowledged it. Never commented, never acknowledged it. I'm not going to do this sort of thing with no matter who says it. I'm just not. I'm not saying I'm like Warren Buffett or something, but I am trying to be a professional in the city. I do have a professional career. I'm not interested in like the nonsensical stuff. I'm just not.
Before we get into the topics, obviously what you're trying to do, because you got 2 more years to go,
Mm-hmm.
you want a council
Yes.
that can what?
Deal with the most boring city government issues on earth.
Okay.
True, and some not so boring ones.
Right.
But some of the things we're looking at is speeding. How many years has it been in this community that we've heard people complaining about? I don't mean like annoying speeding. I mean like dangerous speeding through our business district, through residential areas. What is it going to
But
take?
in politics, you gotta have 3 votes
Yes,
to get things done.
absolutely.
So, I mean, that's your agenda, right? To find a group of people that can get us in a direction?
Yeah.
And so, and when your critic says, what is the direction? What is the direction that you're trying to achieve?
Yeah. How about we go to item 3, I think it was on my little campaign flyer of restoring like professionalism and competence to our government. I really want to be able to solve very solvable problems. That's pretty much the agenda, and I want it to be in the local development realm. If you are asking like what my passion and direction is, it's largely making the city of Martinsville as respectable and prosperous as it should be. And that's not just a platitude. Like I actually have a plan to that.
Right.
We've got old textile facilities, industrial buildings, etc., that are vacant, undeveloped land, that sort of stuff. Why don't we just put some modest things there? I'm not trying to put like 5-star hotels or high-end condos or something in Martinsville. I just want enough citizens with places to live that are nice, that can go out to eat, to sustain restaurants, that can go shop at boutique shops, so that we can sustain our own nice little
You're
community.
saying we need to clean up?
Yeah, it's really like, the frustration of this is how much we are capable of and the potential we have, and how low the bar is, and why can't we close that distance? It's very closable.
Right. And you keep saying we keep doing these silly things.
Yeah, well, it's like every single time, and this was a director of a state agency told me this, every time Martinsville seems to like get 2 feet and 2 hands up a step on the ladder, someone comes and just like rips your leg out, and they're always self-inflicted. It is always somebody in this government. Typically it's Kathy Lawson or someone like that, or people in that administration with her. But in this case, it's not her. It's like the first time in probably a decade it's not been her. Yeah.
Okay. So the last question on this topic, we're gonna shift gears. I wanna ask you, how do we get out of this mess?
Well, I am really hoping by me not talking about it, not giving it any oxygen, it will stop. You know
Bill
me.
Wyatt, he said the power of silence. He did an editorial.
Yeah. I have received what I think is sound advice from people who are my superior in almost every way imaginable, with more life experience, have existed in these realms for longer than I have, and every one of them has not just kind of guided me, but kind of warned me, don't get into this. And I don't want to feel their disappointment, and I also don't want to disregard good advice.
Yeah.
So I hope by being quiet and not engaging in it, and it just dies out. I'm hoping, I don't know, hoping a lot of people see this as childish and not fruitful, and it's boring anyway, and who cares about this drama? Can we talk about speeding? Can we talk about littering in my neighborhood? Can we talk about why are people who are repeatedly involved in shootings still walking around in the community? Like, that's stuff we need to be talking about and solving for.
Right. All right. Let's talk about infrastructure.
Let's do it.
And the city manager had a meeting with her